Can you see clearly from there? Okay. Okay. So thank you, and I also appreciate our pastor for welcoming me today to give this talk. And I'm Nation Adero, Nation Juma Adero. That is, my surname is Adero, and I'm a lecturer at Taita Taveta University. By profession, I'm a surveyor, but by vocation, as I said earlier, I'm a teacher. There's a difference between vocation and profession. So don't lament that I joined JQuat, then I took journalism, but my heart is in something else. Vocation is different. You can still apply journalism and interact with people in that space and influence them. Maybe you want to be a church minister. You can still be a church minister and a journalist. So a profession is something that you have studied and can earn you an income, but a vocation is your calling, your God-given call, and that is something you can do without being paid. It gives you fulfillment, and fulfillment should be your ultimate goal. So today we are going to look at career success. That is the main topic. And this is the 50th such career talk that I'm giving. Before COVID, we used to meet physically. We even met at DCOR, Deliverance Church on Gatarongai. But after COVID, we decided to go virtual, then hybrid. So this is the 50th such talk on career and skills development. That is my main focus. That is why I founded this youth mentorship platform called Impact Borderless Digital. And you can Google it. You'll be able to read the resources that are there, the publications, the recorded videos. They are all there. And you'll be able to review the trainings that I've so far coordinated, including inviting guest speakers who advise you on career and skills development, as well as scholarship opportunities. So those are the Twitter handles. The second one is my own Twitter handle. I think, you are already in the third one, eh? Just the first one, the first slide. Yeah, so I'm saying you can see the Twitter handles there, and I interact with my students even on Twitter. They can even ask me questions on Twitter using those handles. And you see there's a slogan: for everything you do as a youth, cultivate what you call consistency. So what is your life's philosophy? What is your motto? So for this Impact Borderless Digital Youth Mentorship Program, our motto is borderless impact without imposition. Why borderless? Because your skills development should empower you to work anywhere in the world nowadays. So don't limit yourself to Kenya, to East Africa, no. Skill yourself in such a way that you can compete as a global citizen. Then impact. Whatever you do, there should be impact. Ask yourself, what is the impact here in church, in society, at school? Don't just pass through school. Ensure that you have some impact. Then imposition. Without imposition means we are not, as a mentor, you don't force people to be your mentees. And that is why I liken mentorship to magnetism. A magnet, however powerful it is, will only attract magnetic materials. I interacted with an electrical engineer here, and they can tell us if you have a very strong magnet, but the material you have is silver, will it attract it? No. So it is the same with mentorship. And it has been said that you cannot learn from anyone you don't respect. Look at your school life. The teacher whose subject you excelled in, you first respected that teacher. But if you used to laugh at the teacher, look at the way this math teacher doesn't know fashion. Look at his belt. Then you don't respect him, and you won't earn any benefits in terms of what he's teaching. He could be the best teacher, but you don't benefit from him. So in mentorship, again, you are attracted to the mentor based on his key message and his philosophy. So again, don't be surprised if a mentorship style of someone does not fit you. You can always look for another mentor who inspires you because of the mentorship style, the philosophy, and the messaging. So much about that introduction. So let's proceed now. Now you can go to our vision. That is the third slide. So that is the vision of this mentorship platform. And as I said, you have your smartphones, you are connected to the internet, you can always go and check that website, Impact Borderless Digital. And I'm happy to mention that among the flagship projects we have here, the latest two are the IBD Talent Academy and the IBD Education Fund. And the IBD Education Fund is something I thank God for because it just started 2 months ago. And why was I inspired to start it? I lost my brother-in-law. He was still a young man, barely 35. He studied engineering at the University of Nairobi. I was supposed to go to the US for a conference. I was sponsored for it, but because of the funeral, I couldn't go. Then the people there asked me, what can we do to make it easier for you? Then I thought long term and said, let me think about it. Then God revealed to me that I should start an education fund so that in his memory, his legacy, we can now sponsor needy students in society so that they can benefit, and that will help us also to feel better and to heal. So the IBG Education Fund, already we have 3 students now. We are sponsoring one in secondary school, one at university, and one at Kisii National Polytechnic. And this is generous giving from people from all over the world. So I also inspire you that you can have a vision as a young person and impact others. So those are the core values: diligence, excellence, and intergenerational responsibility. That is the next slide. Yeah, the next slide, I'm emphasizing, even as I give these mentorship talks, that there are core values that you must hold dear. And our core values in this mentorship platform are diligence, excellence, and intergenerational responsibility. Why diligence? You see, diligence is coming top, it's number 1 there. And in Proverbs, if you read the book of Proverbs, it is written somewhere that, you know, you may have a sharp axe, but you are lazy. But someone doesn't have as sharp an axe, but is diligent, hardworking. You find the diligent person will complete the task. So some of you are highly talented here, but because of laziness, you can't rise to the top of the competition. So that is why we have to talk about career and skills development. Why aren't the youth with your upper second class honors, first class honors, why is it that when you go to the workplace, then the people who excel didn't necessarily perform as well? Lower second pass, and they become your bosses, okay? In fact, those who graduated with the BA in sociology, anthropology become your bosses with your engineering. What is happening? Something about diligence and networking and looking at the bigger picture. Then excellence. Excellence, the book of Proverbs also says, if you see a man skilled and excellent in his ways, he'll serve before kings, not before mere men. Have the habit of excellence. Whatever you are doing, ensure that you do it to the top. I have this good example of these fundis in the village. There's one who is just known for tiling like this. He does it excellent. So you don't even need to look for someone with a diploma, level 6 in building technology. He has excelled in that area, and there must be diligence. He had to be consistent, hardworking, braving the morning chills to be trained under someone, apprenticeship, so that he could excel. And then intergenerational responsibility. Why intergenerational responsibility? It is not about development, it's about intergenerational responsibility. So, I'm just showing you that the next slide you can see those giraffes, because Taita Taveta University where I work is within the Tsavo National Park, and the giraffe is one of the iconic animals there. And the giraffe is known for good eyesight. I want you to have good eyesight, even as you graduate from college or go for your postgraduate and develop your career. And the giraffe is also known, we notice it is a very tall animal. And usually in our community, for example, we say the giraffe has a long neck. But scientifically, if you measure the length of the leg and compare to the length of the neck section, the leg is longer. So it is tall because it is resting on very long legs, and the neck is just augmenting the tallness of the legs. So you need a mentor. You need to stand on the shoulders of other people so that you can be seen to be excelling. That is why whenever the giraffe drinks water, it has to squat because the legs are very tall. It cannot just drink normally like this. The neck won't, the mouth won't reach the water without squatting. And that is the irony in life, that sometimes you admire someone's excellence, someone's success, but you don't know this person is resting on the shoulders of mentors, maybe the way they were nurtured by parents, by guardians, by pastors. So you need mentors in your life, and you cannot go far without such, and without respecting your seniors, and without respecting your teachers, pastors, leaders in society, and even your peers, because there's also peer mentorship. Again, for those who have not gone to Tata University where I work, you can see it is just near Voi here, and you can go there via SGR, and that is our administration block. And our motto at Tata University is Home of Ideas. Now we are going into the crux of the matter, because I said that developing your skills here is about global citizenship, having borderless skills for impact globally, and the opportunities for the youth are now more than during our time. During our times, during pastor's time, you could be excelling there in the village, but no one knows about it. Citizen TV was not there, it was only KBC radio. So you would pass there and remain there, no one can even assist you. But nowadays, if you pass very well, the media is there to advertise and say that this is a bright student but does not have opportunity. You find people donating so that you can go to school. We have opportunities like youth, the African Climate Summit. The youth were there. In fact, they were simply the majority. And we have this Mandela Fellowship Program. So many scholarships looking for the youth. You just need to be young. That is the first qualification. So if you are young but at the same time diligent, excellent, and when you are writing your proposals why you need that scholarship, you say something about intergenerational responsibility, you will get the scholarship. So I'm showing you this wonderful product of engineering, specifically the surveying I've done and civil engineering. Where do you think this could be? And there will be a present for the most active youth here. I carried some present for the most active youth. So where do you think this one could be? You could be as specific as the country or as general as the region or continent. Who can give us a guess? Cairo, in Egypt. Yeah, good trial. And this is Taiwan. And you can see that product. You cannot achieve that without diligence, excellence, and intergenerational responsibility, thinking of safety, corruption. Because if you are corrupt, you are given 40 million per kilometer for the tarmac road. You use only 30 million and you sign that it has been well done. The 10 million you share every kilometer. So if the road has to go 100 kilometers, we wonder why you are wealthy all of a sudden. Yet, you are putting at risk the future generations. That is something I must challenge you as youth, especially youth in church and youth who are Christians, to ensure that you make a difference. So the next, again, you can go next. Now look at that landscape. Think as a youth what you can do with it. Can you transform it in such a way that you can have transportation network that interferes that does not interfere with the landscape, because you also need to preserve the landscape. And the next slide is about the key topics that we do cover under this mentorship program. But today, you see, we are dwelling more on number 3. I'm going to talk about your CV and interview skills, and then generally about career development. And it is good for all of us here, not necessarily the youth, because career development is lifelong. Then we can continue to slide number 11. So if you go to slide number 11, you can see this famous philosopher Aristotle said, for the things we have to learn before we can do them, we learn by doing them. What does it imply? You cannot wait forever to learn something. You learn by doing. We learn by doing and by volunteering. So even here in church, ask yourself, what are you volunteering to do? That is how you learn. And nowadays, because of technology, because of artificial intelligence, for example, there's narrowing of boundaries between these disciplines we study at university or college. So you'll find you are an electrical engineer, but you work with a mathematician on a project, because you need some models which you need to develop so that you can optimize outcomes. And you also work with a sociologist, because you are serving society. So the sociologist will tell you something about how society behaves and whether your engineering solution will penetrate the market. And even business intelligence, you need the same. And those of you who are aspiring to go abroad to study again in terms of skills and career development, you have to check these publications and how these countries are ranking in terms of curriculum, employability skills, delivery on curriculum, linkages to industry. And you can see, not that I'm campaigning for Germany, but you can see Germany is appearing there many times. And that is where I've done my postgraduate studies, both at master's and PhD level. And what I'm saying is that if you want to go to Germany, if you want to earn a scholarship to go to Germany for your postgraduate studies, you can always contact me. I can write for you a recommendation letter, because if you have studied there and you write a recommendation letter, it will give you more marks, because this is someone who has been there. You know, international exposure is not anything you experience virtually. You have to be there. You have to be within the culture. For example, when you are writing a letter to Germans, the salutation where you write "Dear Sir," comma, they argue that because it is a comma, the next line should begin with lowercase, unless it is a proper noun like I. But if it is, this is to inform you, then "Dear Sir," comma, this should be small t, lowercase t. And so if you write like that, they know this one of us, okay? Or you can say, "Dear ladies and gentlemen." And if you are writing a CV, taking to a German organization, they want to see your photo there. But for the British, the UK, they don't want to see your photo there like Kenyans. I think we have borrowed a lot from the colonial masters. You don't put your CV there unless it has been asked for. But in Germany, it is a must. Your photo should be part of the CV, your passport size photo. You have to put it somewhere there, okay? So these are some of the nuances that you need to master, and then you find that you rise to the top of the competition. You get that scholarship easily, more easily than other people. In fact, you may have upper second class honors and you get the scholarship, but someone with first class honors doesn't get it because they are not doing their application right. So again, next slide, you can see we are talking of career development, how you can craft your CVs and how you can pass these interview questions. And students usually ask, which are the careers of the future? And for my research evaluation, these are still careers of the future. Medicine, engineering, law, and pure mathematics. And why are they up there? They are up there because they support what we call linear career growth trajectory, what I was talking about in the previous slide. Because if you are into traditional engineering, law, pure mathematics, medicine, you tend to grow linearly. It is very a very well-defined path. But these ones which are lower here are also careers of the future, but they give you more opportunities to work collaboratively with others. Look at IT. You'll find an IT professional working at the airport, in a bank, in an NGO, with engineers, because it's cross-cutting. Look at GIS, Geographic Information Systems. Look at economics. Economists are everywhere. World Bank, they work with engineering organizations. They work with policy research and think tanks organizations. And look at agriculture. Agriculture is still a discipline of the future. We know people talk of climate change and climate crisis, but people forget that at the bottom line is, can we get enough food, food security? There's a survey that we conducted, and when we went to Turkana, we were asking them to rank the problems they have so that the government could intervene. And they said that don't say health, what, disease, what. We don't need hospitals as such. What we need is food security, because if you are not well fed, you will be prone to diseases. You will be susceptible to diseases. You will be angry most of the time. And you start, the youth will start being unmanageable, and crime will increase. So, address the issues of food security. If we are well fed, then we can have better outcomes in other areas as well. So, if you are doing agriculture, don't be discouraged. You can tweak it to be innovative enough with IT, develop solutions, and with your understanding of precision agriculture, help us to attain food security. So again, as part of your interview skills, don't go for any interview, that is the next slide, without knowing about the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. And you can have a summary, for example, in that diagram. All the 17 SDGs are there, but go beyond that and ask yourself, what are the indicators for every SDG and the targets? There are indicators and targets. So don't just say SDG number 4 is about quality education. Also read, it is there on the internet, read what are the indicators for measuring outcomes under this SDG, and what are the targets that will already push you ahead of other youth in the competition, because you may find someone on the panel asking you such a question. Everyone can say SDG number 4 is quality education, but when you now ask them, can you name some of the indicators for measuring progress on attaining that SDG, then no one can answer. Maybe you'll be the only one able to answer. So that information is readily available. So SDG is not just about knowing what it is and which number, it is also checking the key indicators of measuring progress and the targets. Are we together? Then productivity tools. Nowadays we have so many tools that can help us to be productive. And the latest entrant or the latest disruptor is ChatGPT. Have you been using it? Yeah, so these are, I call them frenemy, both enemy and friend, depending on how disciplined you are in using them. So if you use them productively, they can help you to achieve much more. So I've listed some of them there, which I'll share the presentation so that you can go deeper into some of them. And as we talk of that, those are just some of the examples. There's a slide that has more of that. So Jimmy, you can go to slide number 19. So on slide number 19, you will see a summary of these productivity tools. And I'll ask, just tell me if you have used any one of them there. Slide number 19. 19. Can you see them? Maybe it can only zoom under normal view if you stop the slideshow. Okay, good. Now I'm asking, the moderator was assisting me to get answers from the audience. Just ask them who has used any of them so that we can know. Who was my co-moderator? Maybe they, because you are there with them, they can. Yeah, just ask them if any of them has used any of these, they can tell us. Yeah, you can. To do it, that is very good. On your phone, okay? Yeah, that's a very good. It is a very good, it is an improved calendar. So as a pastor, you may have so many activities that it reminds you, and at the end of the year, it summarizes how productive you have been and which hours and which days. For example, in my case, it has been showing me that I'm very active Wednesday evenings. That is when I finish most of the tasks. So it can also help you to tune your calendar for productivity. That is very good. Thank you for using Todoist. So, you are using it, eh? Yeah, that is also very good. It integrates all the calendars so that if it is going to your Google email, Google Calendar, or the other calendar for Outlook, Microsoft, it will integrate all of them so that you don't miss an appointment. So one calendar is also very good. And these are free. From your iOS or Play Store, you can install them. So I'll challenge you today, go and try Worldometer. Some of you are saying we don't have data. Go try Worldometer and try Our World in Data. Those are very good sources. You'll find updated data, including the population of Kenya, or account in Kenya and how it is increasing. Population of Africa, you'll see how it is counting, increasing. So you'll get the latest data on population on Africa, and Our World in Data will give you a lot of information, including data that you can use for your master's thesis research. It's all the sectors from agriculture, infrastructure, water, you'll get there, Our World in Data. So those are some of the sources that you need to explore, and also explore Evernote and OneNote. And then dictionary.com and 7 Good Minutes on Spotify. Every morning you can listen to 7 good minutes of wisdom from those who have experience in various areas and are condensing all that experience they have acquired over the years into only 7 minutes. So again, who are doing mathematics here, or maths and engineering graduates here? Do you have any maths or engineering students or graduates here? You are which engineering? Mechanical. At multimedia? And mathematics? Have you used Desmos? That is the next slide, number 20. Have you used it for your engineering? Yeah? Go and try it. It is, now you can go to normal slideshow if it will show. Yeah, now you see in engineering or mathematics, you usually have these complex functions. And this one was a practical example of trying to determine where we could have minimum cost if we are excavating to lay a pipeline through a wetland and dry ground. And this is the equation that as a mathematician or engineer you come up with. Then you ask yourself, which is the minimum point? So instead of going for chain rule and differential calculus until you get this minimum point, this Desmos is free. It works on your smartphone, on your laptop, and you just give it this equation and it draws the graph and gives you the minimum point. So this can also workplace so that you go somewhere as an intern or as on attachment, then you are given a job even before you graduate because the employer has seen that you are saving time, you are very efficient, not because you are the brightest, but because you are more exposed. So let's come to official letters, because when you are talking of your CV, these CVs are sent with cover letters. And some key points to note. That is the slide number 23. Slide number 23, when we are talking of those official letters, most of the time you'll communicate via email and ensure that you stick to email etiquette. Most of you just send emails without a subject line. So the boss in the office sees an email coming, but it is no subject. It will write no subject because there's nothing you put there on the subject line. Or on the subject line you have started with greetings or hello, please find my assignment attached. That should not be in the subject line. That should be in the body of the email. So the subject line should be professional. For example, you are submitting an assignment, so the subject line, write something there. So submission of SMA 101 assignment, okay? So that it can be better classified if the lecturer is using or your boss is using AI program for classifying the emails, it can be easily classified. Then also your email address. Please be professional even the way you choose your username because employers look at that. There's a time a student sent to me an assignment and the username was fireplugman@yahoo.com. So you just see this is a big joker, okay? Be professional because the email is something that will remain with us, your identity for long. For example, my email address is just nation.adero@gmail.com. So if you are John Kamau, why don't you just go for john.kamau@gmail.com? What are you hiding? Just let it be that direct and obvious. So once you have written something on the subject line, go to the body. Body, you need a salutation. So, you know, we usually have dear sir, stroke madam. That is if you don't know the person occupying that office. Okay? Then you start writing. And then you sign off, kind regards. And the same applies to cover letters, the actual ones you have written on Word, using Word document as an attachment. You know when you have dear sir or madam, you sign off as yours faithfully, okay? But if you know the name of the person occupying that office, could be dear Mr. Adero, for example, then you will sign off yours sincerely because now you know the name of the person. So the standard is now to sign off as yours sincerely. When you got your admission letter to Multimedia University, how was it signed off? Was it yours sincerely or yours faithfully? Huh? Can you remember? But you joined the other day, Multimedia. When did you join Multimedia? That is very recent. I joined the University of Nairobi in 1995. And I remember. So you are sincerely, because maybe they wrote your surname there if you are Mr. Kamau, dear Mr. Kamau, so they are allowed to sign as yours sincerely. Not that they love you so much or they know you so much, but it is just the standard. So again, when you are writing letters, you must have a date. That is a major omission on most letters, a letter without a date. If it is a scholarship you are applying for, that can knock you off. So ensure you have a date. For email, the date is automatic, depending on the time zone you are writing from. Then for emails again, we have BCC and CC. CC means you are copying someone on that email, and CC means if you are sending it to the chair of department and the copy is to the examination officer, then the chair of department will be able to see that you have sent it to the examination officer as well. It will be seen there as one of the email addresses receiving that communication. But if you have BCC, it means the people won't be able to see the other people you have sent that email to. And that is the standard practice for conferences, for example. Even here in church, if you are sending out communication to many people about this event today, then it is just professional that you use BCC because you don't want to publicize everyone's email for other people to see. So you only address it to the first person, maybe to the pastor in charge, the youth pastor. Then the other people receiving that communication should be on blind copy, BCC, so that they cannot see Each person just sees their own email address, but they don't see of others. And why do we do that? There are many spammers, people interfering with data security. You find if you have an international conference, you are inviting 1,000 people, and now you have CC'd everyone. Now people will be able to see the email addresses of people from Taiwan, South Africa. They start sending them spam emails or hacking their emails. So that is a skill you need to master, and if you master it this early as a youth, you will be very competitive in the marketplace. So we have talked about subject, salutation, signing off, date, reference number. For official letters, there's a reference number. If the reference number is not there, then if you're applying, maybe the government advertised something, then you should refer to the advertisement, refer to the advertised position of intern. Or, do you know Presidential Digital Talent Program? I've been a youth mentor there, and now it has been revived. It is there to train you. You are paid and trained for 1 year in a government agency. Then you are given a mentor within the government agency and another external mentor, and after 1 year you graduate. And it is a very good program that has graduated many young people from, I think, way back in 2016. And there are now more than 1,000, and there are organizations that nowadays go for those who have been mentored there, the graduates of that Presidential Digital Talent internship program. So apply. I saw the advert was out recently. So when you are applying again, don't just write a blank letter. Under the reference, it is advertised position of graduate trainee or intern for Presidential Digital Talent Program, so that they can know what you are referring to. Then copy and paste email as it is. Some people retype email. So there's someone who missed an opportunity because I gave him the email address to send application to, but he ended up typing again that email address and made mistakes. Especially the way in Kenya we are familiar with some names. For example, mine is Nation, the first name. So most people write the long form, Nahashon. If you write Nahashon, I won't get that email. Okay, it is Nation, the short one. Okay, so if you are given email address, just copy and paste it. And sometimes you say the email is not going through. Why? As you paste, you have left some space, or you have added a space at the end. So it won't go. So those are some of the simple things that make a big difference. So let's proceed to number 24. Slide number 24. And because I'm in Kenya, this is the trending phraseology now. We say, mambo ni matatu. Mambo ni? Mambo ni matatu. Are you busy being busy or busy being productive? There are people who are busy being busy. How can you be busy being busy nowadays? On your smartphone. You find you started concentrating on it at 8 a.m. and it is already 4 p.m. But you have done nothing you can count as productive. So check on that. That is why you need to have a calendar and ask yourself, what do I want to achieve on this day? And this application productivity tools I was showing you can help you to refocus. For example, I can remember my first smartphone. I got my first smartphone in the year 2010. And then I discovered this dictionary.com application. It gives you a new word every day. Every day a new English word. And it explains the meaning, synonyms, antonyms, and how you can use it. And even its origin. So from the year 2010, I've been learning some word. At least 3 new words in a week. Because, of course, I find some of the words I already know. But at least 3 new words in a week. So even if I'm the slowest learner, there must be a big difference between me and someone who has not been using that application. From 2010 to now is more than 10 years. Huh? So you can challenge yourself. Don't just be busy being busy, but be busy being productive. Are you task-oriented or goal-oriented? You can be task-oriented. You just want to complete tasks and feel happy. But ask yourself, what is the goal? What is the difference between where I am and where I want to go? If you want to publish a book, the way Jimmy is an author, he had a goal. It was not just about tasks, writing pieces of paper, putting aside. You can be very happy that today I wrote 4 pages and put aside. But do you have a goal that the story should be consistent and you want to compile them? And because you can't do it alone, are you approaching publishers or other authors to know how it can be done? So being goal-oriented will help you to achieve much more than just being task-oriented. And then, doing more per hour or doing more hours. Okay? Ask yourself, are you doing more per hour or doing more hours? Because if you are not using these productivity tools at your disposal nowadays, you can work and be busy for 6 hours, then someone comes and does what you have been doing in only 1 hour. Then you complain. For example, in the office setting, you'll complain. Why is so-and-so working for less hours? He doesn't even extend. But is the one always getting these prizes. There must be some favoritism. But if you check, you may find this person is more productive, doing more per hour instead of doing more hours. One way of doing more per hour is investing in those productivity tools. Most people use just 2% of the capabilities of their smartphones. Your guardian or parent has bought you a very powerful smartphone, but you are only using 1% of it, okay? You are not installing this productivity tool. So most of the time it is entertainment. You laugh at the breaking news about Moses Kuria, about who, on Twitter, TikTok. At the end of the day, are you goal-oriented? You are just task-oriented. How many TikToks you watch and share with friends? But you can't document what you achieved. After a year, there's a very big difference between you and someone who is goal-oriented. Now, common mistakes. Why have I listed them there? I've listed those common mistakes because as a teacher, I'm always disappointed when I see those common mistakes, even within university settings. There are some universities where you find there are spelling mistakes for on signboards. Now, be honest. Have you been making some of these common mistakes? Like accommodation. Walk around Nairobi. 90% of the time you'll see accommodation is wrongly spelled. You know it is double M and double C. You can even start today around Rongai, even Multimedia University. Have you spelled it correctly at Multimedia University? Engineer, is it correctly spelled there? And Millennium? Double L, double N. You know we check those ones even on your CV. Dining, many places you have double N, which should not even be read as dining, but dining. And professor. Some of you have been with professors all through, but they write professor with double F. In fact, if I'm in that interview committee and I'm checking your CV, those are some of the things I used to subtract marks from you. Your CV cannot get full marks if you write a professor with double F. Curriculum. You are writing your CV, but even the curriculum vitae, the way you have written curriculum is wrong. I've seen many cases where you write CA. Okay? And then mixing up the spelling. You know we have American spelling and British spelling. So, be consistent. If you go for American, that ends in IZE, for example, and UK, which is ISE, be consistent. Choose one. And formula, okay? And it is disappointing some people don't even know the difference between there, and they are, the short one. You see this one? Jimmy, maybe you can put your pointer there so that they can see. Does it show? If you put the pointer on there, and but they can see it. There's a big difference. So please avoid those simple mistakes. So we are going, these are just some of the places where we did mentorship before COVID: Kisumu, Voi, that is in Taita Taveta, Homa Bay, and these are more recent. If you go to slide number 27, you will see a more recent example, number 27. That is at Western Hotel. These are our students from Taita Taveta, those who are doing masters under a scholarship we have with Germany at Taita Taveta. We take them to Germany every year in July, summer school. So that is why I was telling you, if you don't want to come to Taita Taveta for masters or for bachelors, you are missing a lot. Please come there. We'll take you to Germany, and even in the next 10 days, we'll have a major conference in Mombasa. We hold such conferences every 2 years. And Out of 70 participants, 25 are our own students that we are taking there for exposure. And that helps them to emerge better. So Jimmy, you can go to slide number number 40. Skip to slide number 40 onwards. So we'll begin with slide number 40. So, slide number 40 there, that is just an example of one of the universities in Germany. Maybe you want to go there. For example, if you are doing engineering, biology, chemistry, I have a very strong network with this university. I studied there. So you can always get recommendations, and you can ask me more about how you can join that university. It is not far from Berlin. And this is in Finland. The next slide. Can you see, go to the next slide? That is in Finland. You know, we are talking about climate change and net zero targets. Finland has set up a target to be net zero by the year 2035, which is not far. But you know, there are countries that have already achieved net zero. For example, the Republic of Bhutan near India. So in Helsinki, Finland, this library is a net zero emissions library, public library. So it has been designed in such a way that all the waste is recycled, and it is not using electricity, it is using solar power and maximum lighting during daytime. So those are some of the challenges that you need to go into as youth. And why am I displaying it there? Because you also have partnership with this University of Helsinki in Finland, and you can always get recommendations from us. Some of our students have gone there for further studies, and Finland is ranked one of the best countries in terms of quality of education. Now, the next slide, we are challenging you about eco-design, which is one of the areas when you attend these interviews, you can be asked about eco-design. Yes, you are a surveyor. Yes, you are an architect. Yes, you are an engineer. But do you know anything about environmental responsibility? So why am I displaying that? They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. That is in Hong Kong. I took that photo in Hong Kong in 2019. And you see it is a developed part of our world. It is 7 a.m. in the morning, but you don't witness any traffic jam there. And look at the way they have integrated all that development, the rail, the roads, into the landscape without interfering with the landscape. And if we could do this even in Rongai, Rongai will be very beautiful, and the rivers are very clean. We have so many rivers that we can clean up for sport tourism, for recreation and for transport. If you have a very well managed river, then you can find that in Nairobi you can go to some places by boat. Yeah, and that will create more opportunities. So I'm challenging you that you need to think, even when you are applying for a position and when you approach the interview panel and you are asked what you can do, don't just tell us the things we know. Go beyond what is in the books to what can be applied and what we can borrow from some parts of the world. The next one you can see, who has used the SGR, the standard gauge railway, okay? Now look at the Netherlands, the way they have done theirs. That is road crossing across a park. You see the way they have planted trees very well there. And the argument is that you should ensure that the landscape is well preserved, greenery, so that the animals passing there will just find it natural to pass through. But our SGR, you see, it is just concrete walls, those bridges, okay? So even the animals come to realize that something has interfered with our landscape. It has been fragmented. So this is also an area of research for these young people who want to go far. Next, that is just one of the books I've published, but there's another one on page 51. So Jimmy will remind me to leave a PDF of this. It is 250 pages, and we wrote it during COVID times. It came out in April 2019, sponsored by Germany, this German organization. And the second section is talking on youth and skills development and how we can address youth unemployment in Africa. So you'll be able to read more about it there. So I want us to jump to slide number 56. So let's go to number 56. So some of us still complain that we are doing too much for the ladies, that affirmative action should stop. But look at the global figures. Even in the year 2019, which is still recent, the global workforce was only made up by women 39%. And if you look at areas such as engineering and IT, females were still lagging. And even 15% of authors of open source software were female by the year 2018. So you can see there's still a lot we need to do. And if you are a lady, you have more opportunities. Even at Raveda universities, when we are shortlisting you for scholarships for masters and PhD, if you are a lady, you get 5 more marks than a gentleman, because it is true, and the figures are telling it. Even in the US, you find senior positions in technology and engineering, less than 30% held by women. Okay? So I thought the ladies here would praise God for that they have an opportunity to make a difference. Then look at 2023. Now, Jimmy, you can go to the page slide 57. So slide 57, you see in Europe, I know most of us think that Europe is far ahead in terms of only 22% of tech roles in the European companies are held by women, and 18% drop-off in girls transitioning to STEM disciplines from secondary to university education in Europe. So even in Europe, that drop-off is there, and it is in double digits. So let's go to the next slide. Some of you are asking, why are we so keen on the youth? And look at median age in Africa is only 19. But look at the US, it is all 38. In Germany and Japan, all 47. And it is true, if you go to Germany today, you'll wonder, where are the young people? The person serving you, train station, post office, even restaurants, they are, yeah, you have seen them. Huh? So you wonder what is happening. So Africa is still very young, and you young people are the ones who are advantaged to change outcomes. And in Kenya, it is just 19.7 like Africa. And you are asking, where can we get this kind of data from? I talked about it. Where do you think you can get this kind of data from? Within a minute. We said Worldometer, or our world in data. So don't say, no, that one I need to go to the library first. No, you have the answers from your smartphone there. And now you are enlightened. Even Africa's population by 2023, and the average life expectancy, and the part of Africa that is urban, 43%. And all this you can get from Worldometer or our world in data at the touch of a button. And here, the next slide, that slide where you are in, that is Cairo. Someone talked about Cairo. Cairo, Egypt at night, but then look at, this is London, Heathrow at night. Okay? You see a big difference in terms of planning and light. So you are the people who must take up that challenge. So the next slide is here now localized. And when we interviewed young people in the year 2015, they were saying that cost, employability, and role models, those are the key factors influencing them to choose particular courses to do at college level. So employability is a key issue for them, and role models influence them, the mentors. So when it comes to acquiring skills, most of them wanted to acquire skills for self-employment, and that is empowering, that is great, but you will not be self-employed if you are not diligent, you are not excellent, because consultants are very competitive. No one will give you a job if you cannot convince them that you are excellent. So being a consultant is even more demanding on you to start skilling yourself from the college days. Don't wait until you graduate. Start doing some small assignments as a volunteer in church for your friends, and then upon graduating, you will find that there's something you can do. And it is consultancy that will pay you better, and I say it pays in arrears, because when you are still training, people will be paying you peanuts, but after 5 years or so, when you are now excellent, they won't even bargain. You tell them this is the cost, and they will pay that. So it will be arrears, in arrears, and you will recover very well. So go to the next slide. I want any of you to tell me which software can you use to produce that kind of graph, or who can produce it. If Pastor gave you an assignment today to check maybe 20 countries in Africa, 20 in North America, and he wants to see their experience in reaching out missions, which one is more effective? Is it open air? Is it door to door? And you know that is now 40 countries, and you want to show on a Sunday the results of your analysis. So you need such a spiral. You see, for this I was comparing COVID test trends in COVID testing, average testing rate per day for 30 countries, drawn from Africa, Europe, North America, South America. And that spiral web is showing you where the web is wider, it means they are doing better. So from there, which country was doing the best? You can check that, and even if you are just a politician with a basic level of education, you can still see and get the message. And then you can now appreciate the work of scholars, that they are simplifying information for us to make policies. So which country was performing the best from there? You are saying which one? UK? Yeah, it is UK. You can see it is upending the scale. Then followed by Israel. And what of Kenya? Can you compare Kenya to Rwanda? So those who are saying sometimes we are biased can now see that it is true that Rwanda is not a joke in most of these things. You see Rwanda, Jimmy, can you zoom for them to see where Rwanda is? You see where Kenya, Uganda, then you go, then Ethiopia, Rwanda. You see Rwanda? The web has widened. And this one was normalized. Normalized in the sense that you are considering the population of the country, the time they started testing, so that you can be fair, because Rwanda has a population of 12 million, but Kenya, 50. So when you normalize by population and the time they started testing, now this is a very fair rate of comparing them. So there's no saying that Ethiopia has 100 million people and Kenya only 50 million. No, we have normalized for that. So this is a very fair comparison. And it is something you can practice. This is just Excel. You can do it in Excel. So after this, you can learn to do it. And if you are doing attachment somewhere, internship, you can impress your boss, the supervisor, with an output like this. There's somewhere you can apply this. So when people are presenting, they will be not ask. In fact, they will start by asking, which universities are you from? What they don't know is that it is not the university, it's you. It is you, your diligence and excellence. So you can be from Kisii University, Tom Mboya University, the University of Nairobi. That name will not take you far if you are not excellent. So I'm challenging you to be excellent. So Jimmy, now we want to go to, then we'll take the first set of questions. I'll tell you the slide number to go to. So 9.3 is very interesting. As a mentor, you have to understand what we call generations. And if you are a mentor or a leader, but you don't appreciate generational succession, then you'll be frustrated most of the time. But people do behave according to the generations in which they were born, because there are prevailing circumstances that shape the way a generation behaves. And in a generation, we shall talk of 40-year period. So look at the people called the silent generation who were born between 1920 and 1945. That is where our beloved President Moi belonged to, and even Njonjo, Charles Njonjo. The silent generation. So there are challenges they were dealing with. It was during the World War, the kind of news they were listening to. And then look at the baby boomers, those who were born between 1946 and 1964. That was after the Second World War. There was so much optimism in the world. This was also the space age when man landed on the moon. And I don't know which president said, one small step for a man and one big step for humanity. Yeah, so that era of optimism, there was so much optimism in the world, and even these famous preachers from the US, they sprang up during that time, okay? And there was a lot of optimism. Then we come to the Cold War era now, the Generation X, and PCs were now entering people's homes, personal computers. Again, that Cold War, that suspicion. So they behave in a way that is so different from Generation Y, digital millennials. And then Generation Z, Gen Zers. You are Gen Zers, are you? Are you born between 96 and 2012? That is where you belong, huh? And what we have appreciated these Gen Zers with is that they like sharing economy. Not like the Generation Y. The Generation Y may want to have a whole Uber for themselves, but these netizens, Generation Zers, would like to share. They are keen on economizing. And I think that means you are very good people for our planet when you are talking of environmental responsibility, and even a design that would ensure that we make optimal use of the space we have around for housing development. And then after you, we'll have these people called Generation Alpha, that is born between 2013 and 2025. Again, what is shaping them, the ChatGPT and all that will also give them an identity. So as a leader, you have to know their strengths and why they are behaving the way they are behaving. And if you find that millennials just write emails very fast without those subject lines, we have to be patient with them and then show them the right way. They need more of mentorship in that line. So I'm just showing you these ones in order to, even if you're a prefect, class monitor, or leader in the students' CU, Christian Union, or the university, understand the generation you are dealing with and how you can approach them effectively. And I'm using those buildings in Nairobi, the famous buildings in Nairobi, just to identify with some of those years, because Times Towers came up during that period. Was it there during bomb blast already? Not yet. And then KICC, I think, was there just after independence. And then this one, I just saw it recently in the year 2019. It is called Pension Towers. Yeah. So I'm giving them those pictorial connotations for you to remember them. So, Jimmy, I want you to go to number 96, slide 96. We are talking of productivity. What will make you rise to the top of the competition? Now, some of you, when they are asked today, Asia, in terms of population, what percentage of the global population does Asia contribute to? I know you'll find it very tough to answer, but from our world in data, you'll get that or worldometer immediately. Imagine Asia alone has 60%, almost 60% of the global population. Okay? Asia alone. And what of Africa? 17% and rising. So these are some of the good indicators so that even as you develop a research proposal, you know what you are talking about. If you are asked to defend it, you can say why you need to have key benchmarks from Asia, for example. So I want us to go to slide number 98. So slide number 98 is summarizing the mindset you need to have from digital literacy to digital fluency. Most of you say they are digitally literate, but that will not make a difference for you. We need you to be digitally fluent, okay? Digitally fluent means you can use these digital tools effectively. For example, if I sent you a form today to fill in and sign, and I give you a digital pen like this, will you be able to sign, or you will look for a cyber cafe to print and sign a hard copy, then scan again? Look at that wastage of time and other resources like going to the cyber cafe, printing, signing, even environmental impact. But you should be fluent enough to know that you can use Microsoft Edge, not Chrome, but Edge, and you go to the pen, and if you have a pen like this or your finger, you can sign and send back within a few minutes, okay? For example, yesterday was Saturday, okay? An officer of the university approved for me a letter because of the conference we are organizing, and that is because he is digitally fluent. He could sign on the screen using a digital pen, but some people would wait for Monday to go to the secretary, have it printed, sign, scan again. Look at that. We are wasting time. So we want you to be digitally fluent, not literate. Don't tell us about literacy. I want you to be digitally fluent. Data literacy, no. Data fluency. Local awareness, no. Global awareness. That is why I was showing that worldometer. Do you know even what Africa makes up in terms of global population? You should have such global awareness. It will make you a better citizen. You will get more opportunities at the World Economic Forum to represent Kenya or Africa. Then these raw talents you have should now be refined talents through mentorship. And don't tell me about formal education. Everyone has a piece of paper somewhere showing that you went to school. We want to see your skills. That is why when I was invited to Fiji to speak to the youth in 2019, I told them that the major problem we are facing in the world today is drops of skills in an ocean of academic qualifications. We have so many papers but no skills. So if you have a drops of salt you add to the Indian Ocean, will you even feel the change in concentration? That is what we have. So we want you to be skilled. Let's have a critical mass of very well skilled youth from DC or Lake Asasi. So that if an employer is looking for a youth from a church, mentored in a church, they can say if you go to Oleka Sasi, the probability that you will get a youth who is skilled is more than 70%. So just go there because they are very well mentored and they are digitally fluent. They have the skills. Like some of these people, you ask them during interviews, they only tell you the units they did, the A they got. For example, in electrical engineering, which is the most fascinating unit, if you say in an interview that I did this unit, which one is the most fascinating? Microwaves? Which one can you cite? Electrical engineer? Yes. Which unit can you cite was the most fascinating on your transcript? That if you say that I did this unit, people can respect you more. Which one? M? Electromagnetic field theory, yeah. So you can go for an interview, then you just say I did electromagnetic field theory and I got an A. Okay? That is so much about formal education, but what can you do with it? That is what the employers are, are asking. So if someone goes there and said, I applied this for this prototype and innovation and changed outcomes, transformed outcomes, this person has a better chance of being employed, okay? So Jimmy, you can go to 103. So on 103, you will see a summary on CVs, what you need to stick. The co-moderator will come up and will take questions and answers. Then we are going to finish with some interview skills. So for your CV, what you must know: format. Use an impressive font, and I've given you some examples there: Garamond or Cobel, because Times New Roman is tired. It has been there for years. So if you are always using Times New Roman, we know that you are just a tired youth. You are not innovative. Why don't you be innovative enough to have some header for your CV? And the header can be your name, okay? So that if there are pieces of paper printed in an office, they can see maybe if the one page comes off, they can attach it back because your name is on the header. So if you are Faith Juma, there's a header Faith Juma on every page. It is very important. Then pagination. Whenever we see your CV has no page numbers, we just know you are a careless youth. You are not really diligent. Why don't you just insert page number? You are not digitally fluent. It is very simple in Word. And you should not forget page number. In fact, there are some bosses who will chase your way if you present a report to them without a page number, because it is like you are removing all the verse references in a Bible. How will we now refer to 1 Timothy 6:6, for example? We need that. So page numbers are your guidelines, even for your boss. Because when he's going to present somewhere, he'll be asked, which page number are you referring to? Now you printed a report without page numbers. And how many page numbers will you deal with in corporates? If you are giving a report to your boss, maybe sales report, there are figures there, there are what? You'll find, hardly will you have less than 90 pages. And in government, even more, 200 pages. So imagine you don't have page numbers. Your CV should have page numbers inserted. Contacts and addresses should be there. Grammatical accuracy, non-negotiable, and chronology. Chronology, begin with the latest qualification to the earliest. So don't begin with KCP first. It should be your highest qualification first, the latest one. Then, profile. Instead of career objective, have a profile summary. Career objective can end up being counterproductive because some youth misuse it. Their career objective on the CV is to be a top professor in electromagnetic field theory, and what? Or to be a major chief executive officer in this area. Okay? You're saying you want to threaten this boss, huh? Give us your profile summary, what you can do for the company or the government. So the profile summary should advertise you. I am a graduate of mechanical engineering with a final year project in this. I participated in this competition and won or was top 3. And I've designed such solutions that are relevant to achieving the mission of Kenya Power, of KenGen, of Safaricom. Okay? I've been a student leader. Okay? Profile summary. Don't flaunt career objective. That one is your own, my friend. We are about impact on society and your responsibility to others. So, if you have multilingual skills, put them somewhere, because nowadays we need multilingual skills. If beyond the English and Kiswahili we know, you won't know some German, French, Spanish, Chinese, Portuguese, put it there. Because maybe there are Germans like GIZ. They have a project in Kenya. If they see you know German, it will be easier for them because they want to communicate in their native language. Now, even meetings they hold there in Germany in German. But that is within a department that is international with English-speaking people, but they don't care. You have to learn some basic German. Now, which achievements? Talk of achievements, not responsibilities. Responsibilities will make your CV too long. And they are always there. Responsibility you just need to download from the advert that was looking for candidates. So what makes the difference is what you achieved, not the responsibilities. So some of you, the CV is full of maybe I was student chair for the student union, responsibilities, reporting this and so on. The vice chancellor receives what. Now you have 7, 10. But anyone can write that. What you want to know is what you achieved with that position. Even if there are only 2 bullets, will be more important than writing the responsibilities. Then those achievements should show us how you achieved it, what impact it created, how we can measure, and the success outcomes. That is why we have that acronym WIMS. Then cover letter we have talked about. I don't need to repeat. Volunteer experience is nowadays a plus for your CV. Don't just write without showing us where you volunteered, because we need volunteers. That is how you develop your skills. And that is how you identify your gift, or what we call vocation. So in church here, if you are in the spirituality team, it should be part of your volunteerism. Under volunteerism on your CV, write what you have been doing in church as a volunteer, for example. It is like the young man who was leading the praise and worship. That is volunteering, not just for God, but for the community. You are serving us. I know that if an engineer was to measure the amount of energy you use, the calories you burnt, with that passion, it is a lot. So don't let that volunteerism just go without doing something on your CV, okay, under volunteerism. Then referees. Referees matter. And choose your referees wisely with diversity. We need to have a referee in charge of academics. So this one was your teacher, for example. So our referee was your teacher, for example, an academic referee, or your lecturer. Then have another one who is professional. Professional means he was your supervisor maybe, or your former employer, or someone you worked under. When you were conducting some research and he was the supervisor, you need such as a professional referee. Then the third one, a social referee. If you have these three, that is a very good diversity that you are giving us, because we are now looking at you in totality. A social referee is someone who knows you in the social circles, could be your pastor, your best man during the wedding, someone you respect, okay, in the social circles and knows you personally. So, if you have referees and all of them are your teachers, we'll ask ourselves, which kind of human being are you? Why is it that we can't see a social referee here? What do you do in social circles? And why is it that we can't see a professional referee? Maybe you are very good in the classroom, but outside the classroom you cannot do anything. We want to know what the people you worked under can write about you. Okay? So that is about referees. Now, that is an example of, the next slide is an example of how you can craft an achievement on your CV. For example, this person is saying what he achieved. Organized 3 successful open days, bringing together industry leaders, academia, and the student community. Now, maybe you are the class representative, or you are chair of an actors club for Multimedia University. So, what you achieved on your CV: organized 3 successful open days, bringing together industry leaders, academia, and the community. Then, how did you achieve it? Of course, you won't write what, how, but this is just showing you, but you make it a paragraph. So what you achieved, how you achieved it: by visiting and writing official letters and pitching. And what was the impact? It birthed one winning idea that was ranked position 2 in Eastern Africa. And then how can we measure? The VC awarded you a recognition letter or a certificate. That is a measure, verifiable. Then what is the success that came out of it? You see, it is about whims. You left a legacy at Multimedia University of meeting targets as a leader, and you mentored successors who have exceeded past expectations. For example, the head of public service was talking about people need to go on leave, and they should have mentored other people to work when they are on leave. So you as a leader, you have left a legacy, you have mentored other people, and now you are exceeding expectations, or you are always winning such competitions because of the mentorship you gave. So this is a very good example of how you can craft an achievement on your CV. Now another example is there. So that is about CV summary. Then we'll finish the second part with interview skills. So the co-moderator can now come along, maybe you are 2 or 1, and then get questions from the audience. You can moderate this session, getting questions from the audience about what we have just discussed up to CVs.
On their CV, while still portraying their skills and value to potential employers.
Good. I've noted down that, so we can take 2 or 3, then I answer at once. So I can answer this one. So this one is gaps on your CV. Maybe after graduating you just got engaged for 6 months. Then it has taken long, maybe another 1 year. That is why you need volunteerism. We believe that even during that time you are not employed anywhere, you should be volunteering to do something to develop your skills. So if you ask me, even this climate change summit that we had was a very good opportunity for the youth who have graduated but are not engaged anywhere to attend. And if you have the skill of crafting what you did there, one of my mentees was there, a graduate of Kenyatta University. He has not got any formal employment, but I give him assignments, and I pay him based on deliverables. So that is something he has been putting on his CV as a mentee and research assistant, my mentee and research assistant. And you will get this from your lecturers if you ask them. They will be able to give you such assignments. And then after attending the climate summit for 4 days, he was a volunteer there with guest management. He wrote reports, which he shared with us. So again, that one he has put on his CV. So don't just look at formal employment, but look at what you have been doing by volunteering and taking up these challenging assignments, not necessarily for pay, but for developing your skills. So I believe with that in mind, you can see there are so many opportunities that can help you to fill those gaps. Even short-term assignment of 1 week is very powerful because you may have 1 week of data collection for someone doing his PhD. Don't fail to mention that you collected data under this project, which was a PhD research. And there's a time I engaged the youth from DCOR during COVID for a nationwide study on youth unemployment in Africa. And we conducted that study for 3 weeks. So that is something they should put on their CV. And out of that study, I wrote a report, which is already online. So you also convince these people that you can be a co-author. Because you have collected data, they can train you so that you write some parts and edit, so you can be a co-author of that paper or report. That is also good for your CV. And you can write articles as well. Nowadays, there are so many platforms where you can send those articles to for wider visibility. And attending these seminars, whenever we have these conferences, we need youth who can help the registration desk. That is something you can write on your CV. During a book launch, for example, a conference, even at the university, there are such opportunities. So let's go to facing the interview panel. That is the last part, and it is slide 107. So here we are saying that there are some 22 questions that you need to be familiar with, because you will have to answer some of them. And remember the 7 C's. Facing an interview panel, you have those 7 C's. You need to be confident. Don't go there already defeated. You have prayed the whole night, but you're still trembling. You are so defeated. Why should you go there without confidence? Go there confident. The fact that your CV gave you a chance to be there means the employer has seen some potential in you. Then creative. Be creative and give compact answers. Don't give too long answers. Be constructive. Don't start defaming the former employer or saying how some people are very hard to work with. And be concise. Also give compelling examples and be convincing to the panel. You are there to negotiate with them. So I call them 22 keys to unlock the multi-lock door to the treasure house of engagement. And the first question, usually, this one you will hardly escape. They'll ask you, tell us about yourself. And that is an invitation for you to show them how your skills and qualifications match the job description. So don't apply and you have not even read about the job description. You don't know what you are going to do there. Read those small prints, the job description, and convince the panel that with my qualification, a degree in this, experience in this, I'm simply one of the best placed people, or the 98th percentile that can deliver on this assignment. So don't make a mistake by narrating your biography. It is not tell us about yourself is not about your name, when you were born, the primary school you went to, the grade you got there, secondary, then university. It is not about that. That one will just be wasting time and making you nervous, because you'll see the panel is not impressed by what you are saying, and you'll not get marks. Then what are your key strengths? So be specific. So don't go for an interview without knowing your key strengths. And these key strengths can be personal and professional. So personal strengths that you have, for example, are you a good organizer, a good timekeeper, a good leader? And what are professional, the skills you have developed so far during your studies? And what are your weaknesses? Again, weaknesses, you'll be asked about your weaknesses because you are a human being. You cannot tell people that you are strong in every area. So for the weakness, what they are asking for is, are you able to learn? So you can show them something that will not disqualify you from the job, but that example convinces them that you are working on improving. For example, you have a weakness because you multitask a lot, but you are saying, I've been working on it, improving by focusing more and using productivity tools such as Todoist to ensure that I remain focused. And that will be very convincing. You are honest as a human being, you multitask a lot, and so most of the time you don't finish tasks, but over the last few months you have been working on it, and you are seeing positive results because you are using a strict calendar, Todoist, to keep track and focus. Sometimes you even switch off your phone completely. So, why should we hire you again? It is similar to tell us about yourself. Now you expand more on what you told them are your key strengths, where you are qualified for the job, and now show them, be persuasive, composed, and confident, demonstrate what you have done before, your qualifications, and read about the organization. What is their vision? What is their mission? For example, you want to work for Safaricom, but all your examples of why you should be hired are about saving animals that were stolen. You are a very courageous man. You know how to use the bow and arrow. But this is Safaricom. Tell them something about their mission and vision. Have you read about their organization? What are the key targets they have for this year? So show them how your skills will help enable them to achieve or exceed those targets. So be part of the organization as you go there. Show them that you are adding value to the organization. What do co-workers say about you? So they also want to know what other people say about you. And that is a trap. Don't brag. I know some people, when they ask that, to them I'm bad news. In terms of computer skills, I'm simply the best. In fact, if I go on leave, the institution stops. Okay? Like there's a time I was sick for only 2 days. Do you know the boss could not sleep? That is bragging. No. Be positive. Share some good humor. For example, someone shared that in the office is known as the human computer, but just because of his programming skills. But again, it is a trap. They want to know, do you value teamwork? And emphasize teamwork, priority, creative problem solving. You should be able to set priorities using the productivity tools I told you about. And at the end of the interview, you may be asked if you have any parting shot. And that is like a thank you note. So you should thank the panel for giving you that opportunity and promising them that you will deliver and exceed expectations if given that chance. So that is so much about the interview, and I believe that at this point you are now better placed. Like the young man who has just graduated, I think next time you get an interview chance, you'll be going there confident. The 7 C's will be in you. Confident, compelling, concise, compact, creative, and you should be able to get that job and even put a reasonable salary range. So let's end it there so that we can receive any questions and answer them. And be now better prepared for the marketplace. Thank you.